Good evening. Thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall. Today is Friday, April 3rd. I have a brief announcement on access. For the deaf community, if you have a video phone, you may call in to be able to receive access to this audio through a video phone, especially for the deaf community. So that number is 929-205-6099. And the ID number, you should be able to see it right down at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to post that now. Welcome and thank you for joining us. As of today, April 3rd, we're at 2,312 cases here in Ohio, with 9 cases in the county. We still have just 1 death in the county, which is one too many. These numbers have increased as predicted by the model presented by Dr. Acton, and these numbers will only increase from here. The model predicts that we will have around 10,000 cases per day. What we do matters, and it will have a tremendous impact down the road. Dr. Acton has spoken on several occasions on the benefit of not just flattening the curve, but also stretching it out. Flattening would allow us to reduce the burden on our healthcare system and not overwhelm our healthcare workers and our healthcare systems. But there's also a major challenge with flattening the curve. It makes the crisis last longer, and it can stretch for a much longer period of time. Now, Dr. Acton said today that she doesn't want to ruin our summer, but flattening and stretching out the curve is a way that we would better manage the situation, reduce the death toll. So it's important that we all do our part, that we continue to protect ourselves and our neighbors and our loved ones and follow all the basic protective measures. Those measures now include face masks. And I want to recognize the wonderful team of over 20 sewers right here in our community that are doing the part to help all of us by making face masks. These fabric face masks that the CDC has now recommended that we all wear them as we go outside. So I have one right here. It matches my outfit. This one was made by Jackie Mulhall. Thank you, Jackie, and thank you to the 20 plus sewers in our community that you're doing your part, your ingenuity, your creativity, and just taking an initiative to help us do what we can to help lives. Thank you. I have another announcement on the stay-home order. It has been extended through May 1st. That was announced yesterday as the current order expires on April 6th. This new order will be extended through May 1st. It allows for some additional provisions that includes signage on essential businesses such as grocery store, and it includes a requirement to list the occupancy that is allowed in these establishments. Fire Chief Colin Ottman and Police Chief Brian Carlson is working with our business community in partnership with the Yellow Springs Chamber of Commerce to help our essential businesses follow that order and help them with the templates and the proper notice required. And my colleagues are here and can speak more on that. I wanna thank all of our wonderful business in our community. You're doing a wonderful job to provide that essential service to our residents. I want to thank Colin Altman in the Fire Service Division and the EMS Division, our police chief and his team, and our public works team, who are doing all they can to continue to deliver life-sustaining essential services to our community. These services have been continued to be provided uninterrupted, and we have contingency plans in place to ensure that all those services continue to be provided uninterrupted throughout this crisis. So I want to thank my colleagues for all the great work that you're doing. Joining me today is Marianne McQueen, Vice President of Council, and I will now hand the floor over to Marianne. Marianne, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Josue, and thanks to all the work that the whole village team is doing. I think we all really appreciate it. Thank you. I have 2 announcements to make, and the first involves contacts that are going to be made to everyone in the village and the township. This is an effort that was being started by the Community Foundation with a group of volunteers. Everyone will get a copy of that survey from their neighborhood block contact, or NBC. In the village itself, we have 31 neighborhoods, and this weekend is the official kickoff. You may have already been contacted by your neighborhood block contact, or you may be waiting to hear from them. The paper has had 2 articles regarding this effort, and so please do look for a hard copy of the survey that was developed by the Community Foundation. You can also go to the Community Foundation directly to fill in the survey, but the information on the hard copy will be the survey. It will have your neighborhood block contact person and how to contact them, as well as how to contact the Community Foundation directly. The other announcement that I want to make, and then at the end of after the meeting, you'll be able to see this video, is that the Environmental Commission is promoting a different kind of gardening. And this is something that you can do in your own backyard or in your own front yard with your family during this, probably what will be maybe a couple months' time when we need to stay home. But there'll be more about that later. And I'll turn it back over to you, Josue. Thanks.
Thank you, Mary Ann. And we will now hear from Fire Chief Colin Altman. Chief, thank you.
Thank you, Josue. Miami Township Fire Chief Colin Altman coming to you live from the set of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert here in New York City. No one else is using the set, so I thought I would tonight. I am going to talk to you about masks. As Josue said, the CDC is now recommending that people wear these masks when they go out of their home. Research is still in flux, and they're not really sure of everything, but it does seem like these masks will at least help slow transmission down. It is a voluntary request from the CDC. If you were feeling out of sorts today and watched the presidential daily briefing, the president announced the masks and then also said that he was choosing not to wear one. I guess there's not one made of gold lame for him. It's important that should you choose to wear one of these masks, and we have several different patterns that are available here in Yellow Springs for you to choose from. I have this wonderful one for me, made by Beth Holyoke. It's important to wear a cloth mask. We really are urging everybody, if you're going to mask up, to wear a cloth mask, to leave the surgical masks and the N95s for healthcare professionals and first responders, and for those who are immunocompromised and need to really protect themselves. Remember, too, that if you're going to wear a mask, this does not give you a free pass to not cover your cough, to not social distance, and to do all the things that we've been telling you for, what, a month and a half now? The mask is just one more level of protection for you and primarily for other people. So mask up, cover your cough, 6 feet apart, stay at home when you can, as you should, and we'll make it all through this together. We're all in it together. We're going to make it through it together. As always, from the fire department, we urge you to be safe, be kind, be hopeful. And if you need us, we're there. Dial 911. We'll come and pick you up. And if you don't need an emergency, call us non-emergency, 767-7842. And we'll just, we'll talk. We'll shoot the breeze, see what's going on in your neighborhood, and we'll go from there. So if there's nothing else, back to you, Josue.
Thank you so much, Chief. And we will now hear from Police Chief Brian Carlson. I want to recognize Police Chief Carlson. He's out working all the time, and he's out on a call, and he's on his car right now. Chief?
Thank you, Josue. I put my N95 mask on that I've been issued. And this will be the typical appearance of first responders from this point on. I find myself wanting to speak very loudly. So if I'm screaming, please let me know. I'm also having difficulty wearing glasses, keeping them from fogging up. Otherwise, it's not that bad. Two things I'd like to point out. Brian House, our council president, touched the other day on the topic of kindness, and I'd like to reiterate that. We've had several calls for service today because it was a beautiful day with many visitors coming from other places, parking where they can, and ending up in the Glen. We had a couple calls where there were some interactions between community members who were trying to remind folks about the protocol, and things got a little elevated. I just want to remind everyone to remain kind, calm, and call the police if you have any issues with anyone rather than engaging yourself. Otherwise, we're doing pretty well at the police department. We're 24/7 right now. Staff is strong, and don't hesitate for any reason to call us. We've been making deliveries for items, essentials, or food. If you just need to talk or you have a concern and you'd like to find out, what our opinion is, please call the police department 24/7. Thanks so much. Back to you, Josue.
Thank you so much, Brian. And joining us tonight is also Karen Wintrow, president of the Yellow Springs Chamber of Commerce. Karen.
Josue, thank you, and good to see everybody. It's been great to see. I was out in the community today helping to pass out the occupancy signs, and people are really sticking to the rules, sticking to the protocols, and it's great to see the businesses that are open and still serving us. So two things I have tonight. The first is that the Yellow Springs Chamber Board, after the recommendation of the staff, that would be Alex Scott and myself, we've decided to cancel Street Fair, the June 13th Street Fair. It was truly a very difficult decision. I think this is probably the first time in 35 years that it's been canceled, but it's clear with the uncertainty of when any kind of an end date for this might be. It was just clear that the risk of bringing so many people into town just wasn't worth it. We know this is going to be a tough thing for many of our nonprofits and the businesses who really depend on Street Fair. There's a lot of fundraising done by our nonprofits at Street Fair. So it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be tough for the chamber financially. And it was something that I was really hoping could potentially be that kickoff to bring people back in town and get them in our shops and really get our shops up and running after this crisis. But it was just too soon. So we need to think about the entire community and the citizens and everybody out there, and it wouldn't be the safe thing to do. So we'll be looking, as things start to ease up this summer, we'll be looking to do some smaller, more locally focused events, some music events, some things to really focus on local folks and obviously our local businesses. So look forward to those things happening. The other thing I want people to know about is that we are doing our utmost to connect with our members, to connect with the businesses, to let them know all of the financial opportunities they have, the loan programs that the Small Business Association or administration has out there. We are actually a new program just dropped today, the Paycheck Protection program. That's actually through the bank, but there are some disaster loan programs directly through the SBA. But you can learn all about that on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. The Chamber is hosting a webinar. We'll have a rep from the Small Business Association. We'll also have Sandy from the credit union to talk about the Community Foundation loan, and we will have Ashley Mangan from US Bank to talk about the loans that they have that are actually separate from SBA. So that's Tuesday at 1 o'clock. There's a link on the homepage of our website, if you need more information, and definitely if you are a business or if you're interested in the business information, please check our Yellow Springs Chamber website. The web address is yschamber.org. And in the menu bar, there is an item that says COVID-19 response. Click on that and it will take you to a page that has links to all of the loan information, Department of Health, the state, all of the resources that you're going to need. And that's where you can also find the link to this webinar. We will be filming it or recording it so you can listen to it at another time. So thanks for giving me this time, Josue, and thanks to the village and the village staff and Miami Township and everybody else who always does so much to support Street Fair. We hope this will give everybody an opportunity to regroup after this situation.
Thank you so much, Karen. And joining us also is Melissa Heston from the Yellow Springs Community Foundation. Melissa?
Hi, I'm Melissa Heston with the Yellow Springs Community Foundation. I'm the outreach manager. Recently, I've been focusing on the food relief effort here in the village, and I just want to remind you of a few things that are coming up. On Monday, the YS Porch communities are going to be collecting food for the Yellow Springs Community Food Pantry here in this village. You'll need to contact them ahead of time. They have a suggested list of items that they would like you to collect, but you need to let them know ahead of time at yellowsprings@porchcommunities.org. Please email them, let them know you have something on your porch to pick up. Also, on Tuesday and Wednesday of this next week are the Yellow Springs Community Food Pantry food drives. Those happen on Tuesday and Wednesday, 9 to 11:30. Those items can be dropped off at 202 South Winter Street, which is the Methodist Church side entrance. If you need help transporting those items, please contact yscf@yscf.org, and we will come and transport those items for you. We do have a food relief section on our website, yscf.org/food relief, and that gives you guidelines and the list of foods that we would like for you to donate to the food pantries. Also, contact Florence Randolph, who is the village outreach coordinator with the YSPD. She can also help with SNAP and coupons and other things that you might also be able to use, or people that you might know that could also use those items.
Melissa, thank you so much. I want to share some additional information on cases in Yellow Springs, and Colin, maybe you can help me out with this too. There's been a text messages and various other communications going around town about cases in Yellow Springs. We don't have confirmed cases in Yellow Springs. I know there's some folks that are sick, but we don't know if it's COVID-19. I think it's important that we operate as if there is a case here in Yellow Springs and we take all the necessary precaution. Now, we could certainly have cases here in Yellow Springs, but due to the lack of readily available testing and how the limited testing that is being done in our county in Ohio, it's very limited to the high priority groups. There are a lot of our residents who are exhibiting illnesses or have been sick or not being tested. So I just want to make that point out that while we don't have confirmed cases, we should be treating it as if we do and take all the necessary precautions. Colin, do you want to add anything?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, I just want to echo what you said. There's no one that the health department is aware of right now in Yellow Springs or Miami Township. There may be people who are self-quarantining. There may be people who have seen a healthcare provider and were told to quarantine because people aren't getting tested as much as they should because there's no testing available. But the thing to remember is it doesn't really matter. If we have people, and we're going to end up with people who have the COVID-19 virus, they should be staying at home, and everyone should still be doing the exact same thing. Wear your mask, cover your cough, stay 6 feet apart. People who end up infected, and some things say could be as many as 60% of us, they're not zombies. They're not going to be coming to eat your brains. They should be just staying at home, going through some flu-like symptoms. So I understand it's a scary thing, but we just need to remember these are our friends and neighbors, and it could be you. Just keep doing what you're doing, take the necessary steps, and we'll all make it through it. Back to you, Josue.
Thank you, Colin. And we will now start with questions. We have a few questions that have come in from last town hall to today. Colin, I'm going to need your help on a lot of these because they're very specific to medical practices and precautions. First one, does Yellow Springs have a plan to use public health preparedness clinic as a triage before sending citizens to or overwhelming hospitals? How would that function? I want to start off by sharing information that the National Guard here in Ohio, Major General John Harris, he discussed earlier today in a 2 p.m. Conference with DeWine on the practices that are being, the practices and strategies that are being put in place to manage with the additional healthcare demand. And one of the things he noted is that unlike what some other states are doing, that they're building makeshift hospitals and either a park or other spaces to deal with this new demand, they're looking to build out medical facilities that could treat the lower priority items, and leaving the hospital beds and the hospital equipment for more critical cases or cases specifically related to COVID-19. So there's a bit of a change in strategy in how Ohio is managing the ramping up the capacity to deal with the pandemic. And many of these centers are going to act more as these public health preparedness clinics. There may be triaging places, or there may be treating the less severe illnesses. Colin, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think you hit it all pretty well there. It's important to remember that every community is not going to have a place to go for triage if we get to that point. There'll be areas that are in the greater area that are appropriate for that. The guidance is still, if you think you're sick, to contact your primary care physician. If you don't have one, contact an urgent care center, call before you go, and go in and see. The vast majority of people who contract the COVID-19 virus do not need to be treated in a hospital. They will not need to be treated in a quarantine center or anything. They'll be treated at home. Some chicken soup and some Motrin and 14 days at home. So while it might seem like we should have our own place here, every place that opens up takes resources away from the greater area. Takes PPE away, it takes physicians, nurses, PAs, all those kind of services. That's why they're looking at more centralized response areas. So.
Mm-hmm. I'll read the second question, Colin. I think you've answered most of it already. So let me know if you want to answer anything more specific. Will the public health preparedness clinic screen any upper respiratory infection and atypical pneumonia and elevated body temperatures for SARS or COVID-2?
Oh my.
I know, it's very specific. We may need to send these to the Greene County Public Health Office. Actually,
yeah, that might be something we want to throw to them when they're here, usually on Mondays, I think.
On Monday, correct, huh?
But as far as I know, still the guidance is still contact your physician, go from there.
Okay. And this one's related to you. What training have public health preparedness workers and first responders have been given to protect themselves and prevent the spread of the virus?
All the emergency medical and public health and obviously ER staffs, we all go through intensive training on infection control procedures. For hospital staff and for us, I mean, some of this stuff is new. It's the kind of thing you learned early on in your career, and you never did it because we didn't really have to. So some of this stuff is new, putting on the gowns and that type of stuff. But we practice, and common sense and the proper equipment helps quite a bit.
Mhm. And I want to add to that you've also been instrumental in helping our police department be prepared to protect themselves and protect the clients and constituents they serve by taking the proper precautions. Our police department has N95 masks. You saw our police chief, Brian Carlson, has his mask, and he's out on duty and carrying that. We also have face shields that our team has and are wearing to further protect themselves. The next question, is there a plan to self-isolate for 14 days, any and all citizens returning to Yellow Springs from any geographical area that has had a positive test area? The Governor DeWine's order, the stay-home order, addresses some of this effective Monday, and that is that the order includes language on self-quarantine for individuals who are traveling back to Ohio. There are some groups that are exempt from it, such as essential workers that have to travel across state lines. Colin, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much what it's going to be. Most states are doing this now with the quarantine when you come from another area. Just keep in mind too that you may not know everyone's circumstance. So if you suddenly see someone new, don't call the police because they're not quarantining. They may have a reason not to. So talk to your neighbor from a safe distance, 6 feet away. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Colin. I also want to add that we will have someone from the Greene County Public Health next week. They've committed to joining us once a week. So Monday, we expect to have them join us so you can ask these additional medical questions or more public health related questions to the Greene County Public Health Department. We have two more. For citizens who test positive, is there a plan for tracking the past geographic movements and identifying citizens contacted by the infected citizen? Colin, I'm gonna give this one to you since you've been in most of those meetings on notifications.
Yeah, thank you. That is something actually that public health does. That's part of their job with surveillance and trying to locate source patients and all that kind of thing. So that is a county level responsibility, not a local one. So as long as the county knows about it, they'll do their best to do all those things and track people.
Okay, Colin, this one's also for you. Is there a plan to check by non-invasive methods the body temperature of citizens using and workers providing essential services? You've got a drone, but you're not using the drone.
No, the drone didn't come with a thermometer, unfortunately. There is not a plan currently for mass temperature screenings. Employers should be checking their staff when they arrive for work. If they don't have thermometers, they can just use the screening questions that I believe the Department of Health has put out. Mm-hmm. At the fire department, our guys check themselves twice a day with thermometers, but I know some places don't. They're hard to come by nowadays, of course. So, if you got to screen people, use the screening questions and go from there.
And that's it for the questions. Any additional questions? Okay, if you have any questions, you can email them to POROURKE@YSO.com. And we also have a phone number that we are staffing just specifically to take your questions, and that's 937-767-3402. I have a question on YouTube. Question is, are the food drives at 2 p.m. and for what days? Melissa, could you remind us of that date and time?
Yes, the Yellow Springs Community Food Pantry is open the second and fourth Thursdays of the month from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So that'll be April 9th and April 23rd of this month.
And Melissa, we also have the little food pantry that it's very much utilized. And I know I drive on almost on a daily basis and I see folks add and take, and I think that's an important one that folks can keep an eye on.
Yes, we've got two people, actually more than two people now, monitoring the food pantry daily. And they have some suggested items that we've been posting on Facebook from time to time. Things that everyone needs in their homes, of course, the quick grab and go type foods, things that can make a meal. Have been recently low on soups and things that are kind of heat and eat, as well as personal products and toilet paper. So really take care of that sweet little free community resource that's located right behind the Presbyterian Church and across the street from Mills Lawn.
Thank you, Melissa. And I've also seen a lot of the grains, rice and grains, beans, lentils, that we go through those quite rapidly. So I've seen that being a popular item. So thank you for all that you're doing. Okay, we don't have any more questions, so we're gonna close our town hall. At the end of our town hall, Sean and our video crew here will play a video that Marianne McQueen referenced. And this is a human interest piece, great work that's happening in the community, and we want to get that message out. And in closing, I want to remind you that we are here as a resource, a partner, and a community, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to get through this together. Please connect with us with all the resources that we're making available, and continue to join us on these virtual town halls. We will have them Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and our next one is on Monday. We will start off with our council meeting and then transition into the town hall. Thank you for joining us tonight. Be safe and see you on Monday. Take care.
Hi, I am Marianne McQueen. I'm Vice President of Village Council, and I am keeping my at least 6 feet myself and Catherine Zimmerman, who I would like to introduce to everyone. Catherine Zimmerman is a new member of the Environmental Commission, and she has brought a program to the village that the Village Council has approved and has become a goal of Village Council, is for Yellow Springs to become a wildlife habitat community. And Catherine and I thought that during this time of social distancing would be a great time for people to put a wildlife habitat in their backyard. It's a fun thing for families to do together. And Catherine has done it in her front yard, and you can see the front yard is very big. So I'm going to turn this over to Catherine to talk about why a wildlife habitat and how could Yellow Springs families get involved in this?
Well, my whole career, recently has been trying to get people to plant native plants and wildlife habitat instead of lawn. And there's a program with the National Wildlife Federation called the Backyard Certification Program, and you can get the whole entire town certified this way. So businesses, schools, all these groups come together and they build habitat and diversity in the community. This is the sign that you saw here. My yard is certified, and to get certified, you just need to follow some easy steps that make this place more friendly for wildlife, for birds and bees and butterflies, all the little creatures that we want in our yards that make it more fun. Our kids can really enjoy it. And it's really simple. It's like 5 different things that you have to choose from to get certified. And we've just put up a Facebook page that has links to the National Wildlife Certification. And you can go there and get all the steps. And we're going to be doing things over the next months to help people. And we want to hear from people as well, to see the projects and to see the kids working on these things. Wildlife.
Can you say, Kath, why is it important to have wildlife in our yard?
Well, everything is connected, and indeed, all these creatures do something for us. They pollinate things, they pollinate our food. They're part of a healthy ecosystem, and when they're missing, then we have lots of problems. We have insects that are over, in abundance, and there's no natural predators. So wildlife will provide that service where they like to eat each other. So you never have too much in the yard or in the ecosystem. And that's how it all stays in balance. So with a diversity of birds, bees, butterflies, and other wildlife, we actually make our places more healthy. In fact, in this garden here, that wraps around the side of the house, there are 27 different species of trees, shrubs, grasses, perennials, and that's in this one small space. So this is what we're trying to go for. I don't need to do anything to this landscape. It's all native. I don't fertilize it. I don't water it. It takes care of itself because I made sure I put the plants in that like these conditions. And native plants are the plants that are most beneficial to wildlife because they do things for wildlife. Like, for example, they're a host plant for, you might know, the monarch butterfly needs milkweed. So I have milkweed over there, and we've raised monarchs in the last few years. It's been terrific. But we hope that everybody joins in, and it's a great way to come out and be safe and be healthy.
Thank you, Catherine, for helping us with this. And I've already gone to the, YS Wild Habitat Facebook
YS Wildlife Habitat Community.
I've gone to it. I've signed up. I even put a picture of my pawpaws.
I know, that was very
on
cool.
that. And I'm very excited that we can do this as a community together and separate. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.